time when those questions have been answered to bring this group back, because we have a lot to learn. Thank you again so much. We'll now move on to public comment on reports. Ms. Sullivan?
Thank you, Chair. John Mudd has indicated that he'd like to speak during public comment on reports.
Okay.
Mr. Mudd
Thank you.
still with us?
Did I make it?
Yeah.
I'll spare you, except for a couple of very quick comments. First, on the MCAS report, I was concerned that there does not seem to be a systematic analysis of achievement gaps in the way we have looked at it before. From my quick analysis, the gaps between Blacks and Latinos and whites hover between 35 and 45 percentage points. It's not only the gaps, but the absolute scores are bad. And in third grade English language arts, 80% of Blacks and Latinos are not meeting standards. For English learners and students with disabilities, this failure to prepare students to meet standards reaches about 90%. English learners with disabilities even worse. The prescriptions that people are talking about are still pretty vague and still sound like one size fits all. And we know that that hasn't worked in the past. The racial equity planning tool calls for people to say, how will our proposals affect Blacks, Latinos, English learners, and students with disabilities? This hasn't happened before. I hope you will insist in the future that every equity statement includes that kind of analysis and the logic of action of why the gaps will close. Thank you. Sorry to keep you. Peace.
Thank you, Mr. Mudd.
Thank you. That concludes our speakers.
Thank you. Is there any new business? Thank you all. That concludes our business for this evening. Tomorrow, the school committee and superintendent will hold a retreat to discuss Superintendent Skipper's priorities for the school year. The retreat will be held in person tomorrow evening, October 13th, from 6 to 8 p.m. in the school committee chambers at the Bowling Building. The next remote school committee meeting will take place on Wednesday, October 26th at 5 p.m. There's nothing further. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Ms.
Aye.
Sullivan, would you please call the roll?
Dr. Alkins,
Yes.
Mr. Cadet Hernandez, Ms. Lopera,
Yes, good night.
Ms. Polanco Garcia,
Yes, buenas noches.
Mr. Tran, Mr. O'Neill,
Yes.
Ms. Robinson.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Buenas
Good night,
noches.
everyone. Good night.